I'm gonna share my journey from immigrant orphan with $0 in my pockets to successful entrepreneur scaling one of the most successful CRMs in the world today with you.
Please give a warm welcome to Steli Efti.
Just raise your hand. You're surrounded by people and me.
If you don't know me, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Close.com, a company I've scaled to over 45 million in revenue with less than 100 people of over a decade-long profitable growth. And we did it our own way. And I've advised thousands of startups and entrepreneurs how to find product market fit, how to scale, and how to do it the right way. At the end of the day, what matters most is who you are and become on the journey of being a successful entrepreneur, and what people you surround yourself with, what customers you serve. I grew up as an immigrant in Germany, factory worker family, orphaned, and my entire youth, people were telling me I would never amount to anything. I'd be worthless. I'd never accomplish anything in life. But I had a burning desire and fire in me to prove people wrong and to accomplish something meaningful with my life. Eventually, I dropped out of school and I found my way in the financial services sector. And just a few weeks later, I had my first big appointment with this traditional family, massive farm, and here I am, young kid, remember looking in the mirror thinking, this will never work. These people will never listen to you, will never trust you, they'll never want to follow your advice. 2 hours later, I found the courage, I went to the farm, I knocked on the door, and they let me in. And a short time after, I came out and I had all their financial files. They'd given me everything, all their investments, all their assets, all their insurance documentation, just everything. And they told me, Steli, we trust you. Take everything with you, study it, come back, tell us what to do. That's when I knew I can do this. And that's when I realized, although I got nothing, I got this. People like me, people trust me. I'm a people person. I can build on that. So no matter where you are in life, find that one thing, that one little strength, that one little talent, that gift, and build on it. That's what I did. So after a while, I found my way in the sales sector and I started, a very successful sales career. And, what do you do when you're young and you, for the very first time in your life, get all this money? You buy nice things, right? You buy expensive things. Eventually, you buy a sports car, a very expensive sports car. I remember being quite disappointed about the experience, thinking, well, this is not that exciting. Until one day, one of my employees who was super psyched about the sports car looked at me and with his sort of gleaming eyes was asking me how it feels to drive the car and how cool it is and what people feel about it when they see me. And I realized I should give him the car for the weekend. So I threw my keys over to him and I said, hey, why don't you take the car and experience it for yourself? On Monday morning when he came back and he gave me that key, he started telling me about his weekend, that it was the best weekend of his life. He was beaming with joy. He was so happy. And in that moment, I realized I'll never be this happy with this car. I'll never be this happy with any item, with no nice watch, nice clothes. But what is filling me with joy and purpose and excitement is to see the impact I was able to have with him, is realizing that empowering people, encouraging people, inspiring people, helping people accomplish their goals, that's what's truly driving me. That is what gives me purpose. That is what will fulfill my life. Very quickly, I got surrounded by millionaires. I had lots of mentors in the sales space. And at first it was like a wow experience, but very quickly you started looking behind the scene and I realized these people were miserable. They hated their lives, they hated their wives, they hated their kids, they hated their employees. They had all the things, big cars, huge mansions, incredible travel, vacations around the world, but they were pretty empty people, just completely empty suits. That was one of the biggest gifts they were able to give me, realizing I don't want to end up like this. I don't want to live like this. This is not success to me. I need to find bigger purpose, a greater life than just financial success. So after a while, I started asking the question, how can I do more than just make money and drive financial results? How can I build something meaningful, something of purpose? And I came to that realization that Silicon Valley and the US would be the place for me to really challenge myself and build the most impactful thing I could dream up. So I sold everything I had, I bought a one-way ticket, and I moved to Silicon Valley when I was 24 years old. I had no connection, no money, I barely spoke English well, but I made the big jump and the big leap. And when I first arrived, all I wanted to do is just like feel safe and stay at a hotel room for a little bit and continue to daydream. But something inside of me propelled me to go to a startup meetup. I sat down and I met some incredibly influential people. One of the biggest investors of the time was sitting to my left, and one of the biggest bloggers at the time, blogging was a big thing in 2007, was to my right. And I started chatting with him and telling them my story, and they took a liking to me and invited me to a big conference on the next day. A conference that allowed me at the very end, after they gave their talks, to take the mic for just 10 seconds, turn around and tell the audience, this is my first day in Silicon Valley, my first day in America. I don't know anybody, I need friends. If you need a Greek friend, please come and say hello. Just a few moments later, I was surrounded by hundreds of people giving me their business card. And for weeks, I was going from one meetup to the next. I was meeting all these incredible people, and I was, quickly making and building a network. Now, I would love to tell you that after that, it was all just up and to the right, and I, stumbled from one success to the next, but that's not true. What followed afterwards were 5 years of excruciatingly painful failure. I started my first startup, and I did all the things wrong that you can do wrong. I tried to jump on any cool new bandwagon, hyped up thing that was going on. I was hiring these great people, but I was trying to micromanage them because I thought I needed to be like Steve Jobs, and I was reading books about how he was micromanaging everybody and how he was a product visionary. I was trying to raise money, but I just didn't know what I was doing. So 2 years of raising money day in, day out, and I had just collected 50,000 in angel checks. I made all the mistakes in the world, and I didn't make them lightheartedly. I was just banging my head against the wall, and I was suffering greatly, and I was feeling horrible about myself. And eventually I had to admit defeat and failure, one of the hardest decisions I'd ever made in my life. But it was also the greatest. It opened my eyes to all the things I'd done wrong, but also the things I'd done right. And the next time around, I promised myself I would do it better. I would surround myself with better people and trust them more. And I would trust myself more. I would bet on my people skills, my ability to sell, to tell a story, to encourage, to inspire, to connect with people more than trying to be like some other founder I'd read a bunch of books about. And that led to a lot more success. One thing that I learned over those years of failure in Silicon Valley was that I was very persistent, and that was one of my superpowers. I was able to keep following up and following through even when what I was doing wasn't working. Now with this new team, this newfound clarity on who I really was and what my true strengths were, I was able to raise millions for my next startup in a very quick period of time and get accepted to the most important startup incubator in the world, Y Combinator. I remember one of the billionaires of the time that we got introduced to went cold when I tried to get an appointment with him to pitch him our idea, and I followed up 48 times until I got an answer. This was one of the founders of PayPal, Max Levchin, and he had originally agreed to meet us, but then had gotten quiet, had gotten cold. I kept following up and kept following up and kept following up until the right moment hit and he responded. The next day we had the big meeting. I'm going to share with you everything I've learned over the last 14 years of building one of the most successful CRMs in the world. And I hope that you find a few golden nuggets for you to help you on your success with your startup.